Hi, folks. I'm John Walter from Manhattan, Kansas. I'm currently in my second year as the Assistant Director of the Collegiate Media Group at Kansas State University. The Collegiate Media Group is an independent student organization and nonprofit business which advises students in the production of the collegiate newspaper, the Royal Purple Yearbook, and Manhattan Magazine. Previously, I spent 5 years at Junction City High School advising student media and teaching journalism. Junction City High School was a career academy campus that focused on smaller learning communities within a school and career and technical education. I'm proud to be a certified journalism educator through the Journalism Education Association, and I'm a proud K-State graduate. I'm originally from Garden City, Kansas. I see that a couple of our peers are currently living and teaching in Garden City. It holds a special place in my heart because I'm so thankful to have grown up in such a diverse and vibrant community and found a lot of value in growing up in Garden City. In my free time, I like running and cycling. I love live music and trying to find the spiciest food in town. So how's the year going? K-State's campus is open, but with limited classes happening in person. From my perspective, it only looks like there's probably 25% of the student body on campus at any one time. It really looks like a ghost town. My organization is going through a series of budget callbacks. Because of a decline in enrollment, there are fewer students to pay into the campus privilege fee, which funds my organization. Currently, we've had 10% of our budget called back for this year, which means we've had to reduce the number of days that the newspaper is printed from 3 days a week to 1 day a week. We've cut 60 pages in the yearbook, reduced the magazine circulation by 1,000, and we've lost opportunities for student employment. That being said, I'm working on campus and meeting individually with students when they have the ability, but there's lots of Zoom meetings. Our large publication staffs are meeting via Zoom, which means that they don't have a sense of community that's typically built from working with other students as coworkers and colleagues in the process of pulling their publications together. And organizationally, we've had 100% turnover in our professional staff within the last year. We have a new executive director and a new advertising advisor. I was new last year, so we're all kind of trying to learn as we go. But I think that presents some good opportunities to really make some transformative change. But just generally, I think that there's lots of uncertainty about what the rest of this year will hold. So for the three types of mindsets of effective educational leaders, the first is that all students can learn. Leaders who have a mindset that all students can learn are relentless in finding ways to connect, support, and reach all students. Without it, apathy drives the culture and students lose out. Number two is teacher collaboration over isolation. Leaders focus on teacher collaboration and how they can make decisions that leverage their time, talent, and resources rather than focusing on individual teacher quality. Number three is happiness and optimism. We have to change our mindsets that have a negative impact on the success and fulfillment of the workplace. And it's in that realization that we can create change. Happiness and optimism are the precursors to success, not merely the result. So having a growth mindset is critical. I definitely agree with all of these types of mindsets. But I do have one kind of critique in that a growth mindset from a transformative leader who's really driving some change can have positive benefits for students and staff. But I don't think that it can solve the issue that we see in teacher attrition and burnout from teachers who leave the profession within the first 5 years, which has been especially kind of concerning for me within this last year. I've seen a lot of talented teachers leave the profession who just said, there's too much uncertainty this year, and I can, find a job that just has less stress. So a growth mindset goes a long way, but I don't know that it's the key to solving all problems in education. For the 5 dispositions, effective educational leaders have to have confidence, which creates ambition. They have to be risk takers who are decisive and action oriented. They have to have a sense of humor, which is a sense of attitude and finding the positives and negatives, not necessarily being funny, but having a sense of humor about situations. They have to be empathetically assertive, so there has to be a balance between patience and persistence when you're trying to drive change. And learners and effective educational leaders have to be lifelong learners. They need to be able to learn new skills, share what they've learned with their colleagues, peers, students, and staff, and also put their learning into practice. For the 3 types of practices, the first is focus and priority. Great school leaders prioritize their time around important goals, objectives, and communicate them with clarity. They then examine the feedback and the data, which allows them to prioritize and focus those goals and objectives. They're soliciting feedback from students and staff. They're looking at multiple data points beyond just grade point averages or pass and fail rates. They're trying to synthesize as much data as they can to make informed decisions. Number 3 is emotional intelligence. Every interaction is a moment that matters. Leaders have to treat people with dignity and respect, and make them feel safe and valued, and they have to be reflective on those interactions. I wholeheartedly agree with this, and I think that emotional intelligence goes a long way in acknowledging the people that you work with and helping lead them to great things. You just have to be able to relate. The 8 principles of ethical leadership. The first is personal courage. Sometimes you have to have the courage to make decisions that are going to be unpopular when you know they're right. The second is working the public interest and putting the public interest ahead of yourself, and that can be self-preservation or ego. Number 3 is a sense of self-control, self-discipline, and integrity. Number 4 is task and employee centeredness, the task of educating students and facilitating a focus on the staff to make sure that they are having their needs met and feel supported. Number 5 is recognizing the talent of both students and staff and finding ways to really highlight and show off those skills. Number 6 is requiring high ethics from all. It's not enough to be an ethical leader yourself, but you have to require the same ethical paradigm from the students and staff. Number 7 is sensitivity and understanding. And number 8 is inclusiveness, fostering an environment where all feel welcome. For critique and reflection of my own professional workplace skills for mindset, I think that strength of mind is the belief that every student can learn and achieve. I think that the journalism class is the best place to be able to really find a spot for a student to utilize their strengths and skills, because there are so many different things that need to be done in a student media program. An area of improvement that I want to focus on is the growth mindset for happiness and optimism, and that you find that through creating positive change and taking steps forward that can help transform an organization. I think that it's just important to focus on that. Sometimes I feel like I can be a bit of a realist, and I just want to kind of focus on happiness and positivity, and increasing my sense of optimism. For disposition, I think that I'm empathetically assertive. I'm always very careful with my words to make sure that the meaning comes across well, and that I'm considering the well-being of others and how they feel in relation to the things that I'm asking of them. An area of improvement, I'd like to become more of a risk taker and decisive. I think that's something that we can all work on is our decision-making skills and the ways that we evaluate the different options to take and the follow-through that we have to get the work done. For the practices, my strength, I think that I've got a high level of emotional intelligence. I think that I have an empathetic heart and relate really well to people and can pick up on some of the nuances that people have in the different ways that they carry themselves. In an area of improvement, I'm constantly trying to refine my focus and the priorities within my life. One of my best friends, his simple saying is that hard work brings success, and you have to focus on the right things and work hard to achieve them. For principles of ethical leadership, I think that one of the strengths that I have is recognizing talent. I constantly try and tell people thank you. I acknowledge the work that you're doing. It's not easy, and I think that you're doing great. And in areas of improvement are self-discipline. I think that we can all work to have more control over our lives and the decisions that we make, which allows us to have more control over the direction that we take our lives in. So how does this support the educational success and well-being of each student and adult? It helps us provide a model and guide for thought and action as educational leaders that puts others first. I think a lot of this is, at the heart is a leadership of service. How are we taking actions and making decisions that are for the benefit of others? And the standard correlations, this assignment's helped develop a deeper understanding of the professional dispositions and norms that support the success and well-being of students and adults. Its relevance is that it's allowed me to reflect on my own strengths and areas that I can see improvement in to become a more effective educational leader. And the reflection on this is that reflection allows me to improve my leadership skills and make more informed, research-based decisions in service to others as an educational leader. And my references. So thank you so much.